Welcome to the Dipped in Butter program. Welcome to the Dipped in Butter podcast program presents New Music Fridays. Hey, we're excited to be here. My name is Kat. Across from me, that's my guy. That's your guy. That's Wes with no T from the Dipped in Butter program, original OG member, and the motherfucking goddamn glue around here.
A1 since day one, ain't that what they say?
You know, that's what the kids say. We are back with another review piece of content for the UDD Tubes. This week's special album that we will be talking about is Don Toliver's
Yes, sir.
Life of a Don. This is his sophomore effort, so to speak, right? His debut would have been Heaven or Hell in the year 2000, right before the pandemic hit.
And I wanna pause and applaud him right there for not playing the debut album game with us. Like he gave us Heaven or Hell, that's the debut. We're at sophomore now. Like we're not playing the I'm still dropping my first album 7 albums later game with Don Toliver.
I think that's important to say because a lot of people play them games. He didn't even say, "Oh, Donnie Womack was my debut." He said, "Listen, I know Heaven or Hell was when y'all first heard of me, and that's my first album, and this is the sophomore, and I appreciate that."
Absolutely.
So, right away, and I'm glad you brought that up because respect to him for that because in hip hop and in this culture, the sophomore album is pretty much looked at as like a cursed situation. A lot of times people don't really quite get over that hump. And we are here to talk about whether or not Don Toliver got over that hump. So I really like to defer to you first, if I may.
Yeah, no, you can. I'm glad that you brought that point up though, because I hear people getting back to that more often than not. And I think it's because of what we talked about, how people play this whole, nah, that wasn't my first album, even though the whole time you wrote it out, you was calling it your first album. And then when you didn't get the reception that you wanted, you called it something else. So like I understand that game, but like I think that's coming back in a real way that like if especially if you gave us some fire on your first album, like you almost kind of had to deliver on the second album. And for Don's sophomore effort here, he for me he delivered. I know we had some different points on the last one, but
We have some
yeah, for,
differences.
for this one here, I took a different approach. I didn't so much write down, song by song notes on this. Again, I listened about 4 or 5 times a day. Not only did I formulated an opinion. I listened again just to make sure I was right, and then I listened to the ones that I really, really, really liked to kind of confirm. So out of the 16 tracks, there are I think I ended with 10, maybe 11 out of the 16 that I thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed. No bad songs on this album. Not a bad song on
Mm,
the album. Just the
what a treat.
Absolutely, I think he still did give us some album filler, even though they might be cuts for him, and somebody else might feel them, not particularly me. But I give it the and maybe even 12 on a good day. And I can't particularly say I have a skip on this album. I don't think I found a skip again because it's all good music. And I don't know if you wanted this piece right here from me. But my two absolute favorite songs off the album is number 6, Double Standards.
It's so hard to be human.
I have Double Standards as a standout track as well. I wrote down Double Standards first.
So fire, fam. And then number
Classic
14.
R&B on that Double Standards, by the way. Like I really liked his approach. We're used to him giving us the Houston sound, the heavy drums.
Mm-hmm.
The I might be giving you some spoiler alerts on some of my takes, but he now starting to get a little bit known for the polished Travis Scott sound. Spoiler alert, but for him to really kind of like shed all of that and give us a legit deliberate R&B
Yeah,
song.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Shout out to him and possibly shout out to Callie Eustace. It might be her fault.
I think it's Caliuchis. I don't know how the hell you
Yeah, I
pronounce
don't
it
know.
particularly. But yeah, Double Standards was absolute fire on first listen. Matter of fact, I think that was one of the ones I had to start playing back before it was even over because it was that fire. I only
Yes,
think I made it a
agreed.
minute and a half into that jump before I replayed it. And then number 14,
You couldn't get any better, baby.
featuring Travis Scott.
That's the very second song that I wrote down as a standout. Me and you were.
If I have to choose a Travis Scott feature off of this album, I'm going with you. I'm cool on Flocky Flocky. Um That's not, it's cool. I get what it's supposed to do, but "You" is a much better feature. Don Toliver can just give me straight R&B if he wants to. If he never wants to call his album hip hop and rap ever again, and he just wants to give me double standard and "You" and swanging on Westheimer an entire album, like.
He all the way could.
And it also, I hate for this to always be my measure, but I could definitely hear a few verses from the boy on this album. Um, and I and in regards to us saying we wanted a R&B album from the boy, I think if he link up with Don Toliver, I'll take a duet album from those two, fam. Like just on some singing shit, dog. And I think it'll go way up. And this gave me better, more polished Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight Part 2 vibes. Like I think if you turn this
Talk about
on,
it.
I think if you turn this on right after that, you'll have a very good like
It's a smooth transition.
music. Absolutely. So for,
So I like your notes. I have very similar. I actually like Flocky Flocky. I know I've been down on Travis Scott lately, but I didn't hate his features on either
I
song
didn't
he's
hate it
on
either.
this album. So I got the same standouts. I got double standards. I got you. I got bogus as well. I liked
Oh, the
bogus as
I
well.
forgot to say his intro and his outro, he bodied him.
He bodied him.
I
So
definitely forgot to mention Escape because he got my shoulders moving with that Spanish guitar that my nigga Cat was playing on that track.
so let me start by giving Don Toliver early flowers, right? Because with him debuting right before the pandemic, right, and not really being able to be out there, because we're new to YouTube, we kind of got to give him this take here as opposed to where the podcast is homed at. But I had Heaven or Hell as 2020's album of the year. That was the best album I heard all 2020. Now there was some good stuff out there, but Heaven or Hell was the best thing I heard all last year. So with that being said, for him to come this strong with the sophomore effort now, I don't right away, I'll say, I don't have Life of a Dime better than Heaven or Hell, but I score Heaven or Hell super high. So that is not a knock. This is a very, very solid album. The only knock I have against it, because I'm like you, I don't have a single skipper in all 16 songs. I got songs that work better in different rooms,
Right.
but I don't have a single skipper. Now, the only knock I might have is that the big moments on Life of a Don aren't as big as the big moments on Heaven or Hell. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Cardigan, After Party, Can't Feel My
For
Legs,
sure. For
the
sure.
original company. The big moments, no photos, the big moments on Heaven or Hell are huge.
You touched a nerve for me with Company. I was actually disappointed in Company Part
Company.
2 because when you come
I
from the
was a
first
little
one
disappointed. Now, I
and then
listened to it 3 or 4 times and
yeah,
it's
me too.
better,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah,
the
me too.
original
But when
company.
you got the original Company, not only that, but then you got like the Drake and Travis Scott version of Company. Like it didn't deliver in the Company family for me.
I'm glad you brought up Drake and Travis Scott because I have a potential hot take here, right?
Hmm.
So the song featuring Baby Keem.
In and out the state, yeah. This shit up for take, yeah.
That's one of the songs that I like on there. Shout out to Baby Keem because I actually listened to his album and I kind of liked it too. He's growing on me. I won't lie. Pause.
Okay, because I have not grown yet. The nothing has sprouted for me and Baby Keem yet.
Boy, if you don't.
I literally text shout out to the homie Reams. I texted him and said, I need you to write me a detailed explanation as to why these young kids like Baby Keem so much. I don't get it. He's not that good to me, but stay tuned. I will change my mind if he gets better.
Listen
But
to the album, man.
the song with Don Toliver and Baby Keem, it sounds like were they trying to redo Sicko Mode?
It definitely gave me Sicko Mode vibes. It gave me Sicko Mode vibes, but so did Flocky Flocky. Like
Okay,
I feel like
okay.
Travis Scott keeps trying to do that. Honestly, I feel like he's the one that's trying to get his lick back from Sicko Mode. Like they just tried it on the Drake album, it didn't work. Like it seems like every time we hear Travis, he keeps trying to recapture that Sicko Mode type of moment, especially with the beat changes and shit. Like oh, there's something coming, and then it just doesn't give you Sicko Mode because they bodied it so hard, but.
Learn from Sway Lee. Don't keep chasing that. If it
Oh
comes,
my
it comes. Don't keep
goodness.
chasing it. Another flower I want to give Don Toliver is me and you talk a lot about like how I'm not all the way on board with like the little babies and the little Dirks.
Hmm.
And a lot of today's popular NBA young boy, a lot of today's popular artists with that similar type of sound. I call it got it out the mud rap. It's where a nigga just sings a bunch of notes, they shove it into the auto tune machine, and whatever comes out, they keep it, right?
Hmm.
Notes are all over the place, but because he's saying something hard, niggas ignore the fact that it sounds a mess. Don Toliver, I'm looking at you. It's your fault that I don't enjoy that kind of music, because when I can get shit like this that sounds so clean and so
For sure.
deliberate and so purposeful, how the fuck am I supposed to listen to Lil Durk screaming at the top of his lungs 37 notes in 2 sentences? How am I supposed to listen to that?
I can understand that, but the not the particularly the knock that I'll make on Don, like he's got me brought in so much to the music, I'm ready to learn something about Don now. Like all I know right now is that he do a lot of drugs, he makes some good music, and he be around like a gang of bitches and shit like that. Like, and that's cool.
He gave us 3 solid projects, so there's got to be more to this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm glad me and you think alike, because about halfway through this album, when I realized, like, oh my god, this is really good sounding music again from this guy.
Right.
The first thing I started doing was looking at the credits to see how much of this he's responsible for, right? Because
Hmm.
your mind, when you hear Don Toliver, you might go, well, he's got a unique voice and he leans heavily on that. And maybe he just got a good team behind him and they're riding on his Ron Isley style sounding tone.
Yeah.
And he might, what if he's not that talented? What if he's just attached at the hip with Travis Scott and he's in a fortunate situation? So I looked up the credits and I found that Caleb Tolliver is on every writer's credit on every song.
As he sounds like he is.
He's in composers. And when he works with like Kanye on Donda and
Hmm.
Travis Scott songs, he has writer's credits on all
Oh yeah.
his shit.
Fam, his writing credits out here, period, are crazy, and a lot
Are
of people just don't know
crazy.
it because he's new. And credit, shout out to that Ebro in the morning interview that you had sent to me. He kind of got in that bag there, like, but it's one of those where you can tell he just like he doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to speak too fast. I don't want to put the carriage in front of the horse here. But when I'm looking at his writer's credits and just his approach and how calm he talks about working with megastars like Kanye West and Travis Scott, and you can tell he feels he belongs in that room. He don't feel like a stranger in that room at all.
Right.
And he gives me Terrius Nash vibes with his pen. Like, Terrius has always had a very like, nigga, I belong in these rooms type vibe. And Don Toliver gives me those vibes, man. So shout out to him for that. Also, while I'm shouting out, shout out to Don Toliver and whoever produced Swanging on Westenheimer for the
Hmm.
Justin Timberlake drums,
For sure.
Woke up this morning.
Huh?
And that's so I'm glad that you said that because I was just listening to it and I was like, where are these from?
Where
Like,
are
and
these
I
drums
couldn't
from?
pinpoint it, so I'm glad you pointed that out to
Those
me.
are
Yeah,
classic
like,
drums. I love that song by Justin Timberlake, especially even the Beyonce remix is that's
hmm
classic music. So for a nigga to have the wherewithal to take them drums, I want to say Metro took them. I don't know. I don't want to be wrong, but I also don't want to take the time to look it up right now. But
hmm Yeah, that's why I say again. I'm probably gonna say this every week when we do this goddamn thing. Like, Apple Music needs to share the goddamn credits, fam. Like, and even to that credit, I still want to dive into this whole Apple Music edition shit. Like, how many editions are out here? But apparently, it seems like we listen to the same album, so I'm cool with that.
okay, yeah, that I just want to make sure I'm not missing nothing. If you got a
Right.
little bit of, if you got a little animation when you hit play, I'm okay with that. Like if you saw Don Toliver sit in the chair for the album artwork, I'm okay. Oh, we got to talk about album artwork and stuff. That's our thing. We're going to make sure we hit
I guess we do. I didn't even really pay this one that much attention because I was so excited for the music, and the music
that.
delivered. So I was like, whatever the fucking cover's doing, I don't care.
Album artwork, I'm going to give it another thumbs down for this week. Meek Mill let us down on paying attention to the artwork. So did Don Toliver. But then again, I'm kind of used to Don Toliver's artwork not being nothing too crazy anyway. It seems like to to me, I don't think Don Toliver cares about the album title or artwork. Like Heaven or Hell is not super inspiring, and so is Life of a Don. But the music is so great, you don't even care.
But I actually liked his last cover though. The Heaven or Hell cover was kind of fire with the with the trunk popped on the swangers. That was some Houston shit. Like, it was
It's very
representative
Houston.
of what he was giving us on the album. Like, again, this one, like, three of him, one sitting in the chair, one about to sit in it. It looks like they snapped him going to the chair, and that's the last three positions before he like sat in the chair. But like, I'm not particularly a
Listen
fan
to
of.
you analyzing sitting in the
Yeah,
chair.
I'm not a fan of album covers that need too much explanation. Like, again, back to the Six God thing. Like, I still don't get it. Like, but whatever.
I guess my worry is as a fan now on the third project, I can call myself a certified fan of Don
Yeah,
Toliver.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I worry that if I handed this to somebody and they had never heard of him and they looked at this picture, that they might take a little longer to pop it in their tape deck. I think that's what worries me.
I would say thank God that you don't have to hand out CDs anymore, but then it reminds me of the Boogie situation that we had.
We'll
Because
never
you
talk about
you
it
sent that
again.
digital as well, and I slid that thing for quite a few weeks. So again, you gotta this would be something that you would have to send to somebody who really like fuck with music for real, fuck with this because this is not for the average listener. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So before we get out of here, I'm ready to rate it. I don't know if you feel like you've listened to it enough times to rate it, but I do want to give it a rating. Out of 10 for me, I got it at a 7.5. I got it at 7.5. I think I would have rated Heaven or Hell either 8.5 or a 9. So 7.5 is a high 7.5 for me. That puts it a full point ahead of Donda, and a half a point ahead of Certified Lover Boy for me.
But see, I don't like when you put it in terms like that because then that
I
makes it
know.
seems like they're compared against
That's
each
just for me.
other.
You don't have
I
to.
know, but I'm saying that makes it seem like they're compared against each other when they're
Eh,
compared against themselves. But I would
okay.
I can
Okay.
I can agree for Don Toliver and his catalog. I feel like doing some on some mathematical shit like I said I like 10 or 11 tracks off of that thing for sure out of 16. So that's definitely batting over 50%.
Okay.
So I can agree with the 7.5. I'm gonna go 7.5, 8.
Okay. Well, I guess that'll do it for our Don Tolliver Life of a Don review. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here and listen to this a little bit more. You got anything else you want to close with?
Congratulations, Don Toliver.
Negro, quit playing and come and get yourself dipped in this butter.